The issues affecting you. Revealed, explained, discussed. Now on WGAL 8 in Focus.
And hello, welcome to In Focus. I'm Lori Burkholder. The COVID-19 pandemic, that has had such a profound impact on so many things, particularly the restaurant and hospitality industry. Restaurants and bars all over the country has been most of this year either closed to indoor dining or with capacity restrictions. Tonight, you'll hear from restaurant owners and industry leaders about how this has affected them and how they're staying afloat as we continue to bring the coronavirus pandemic in focus. We want to talk to the people in the restaurant biz, so I'm joined now by Michael Kamborglis. He owns Souvlaki Boys Grill in Lancaster. Great Greek food, by the way. Thanks for joining us. So,
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Michael, I know you've been through this not once, but now we're talking the second time you guys have had to deal with restrictions and closures. How is your business faring?
Yeah, so when the first no dine-in, takeout only came down in March, we'd actually decided to switch to that the day before, just because of the size of our dining room and not knowing what was going on, not having all the information on the virus at the time. We then shut down for 5 weeks because having a few employees that had close contacts or people in their household who were awaiting tests, not knowing what was going on, we shut down for safety. Reopened at the end of April. And again, even with dine-in allowed in the summer, we only have 26 seats. And if those of you who have been in our dining room, it's rather intimate. So we've been doing takeout only because we just can't properly space people and also have people coming and getting their takeout. So
have you been able to survive on that takeout only? I know some restaurants, that's the only way they're able to make a living. How's that been for you guys?
Yeah, so it's definitely had its ups and downs. For us, thank God, we've got a little more takeout friendly food. We do a decent amount of takeout regularly. Dine-in was a big part of our business, but thankfully for us, we're able to adjust a bit. Right now, I really feel for the fine dining and the more full service restaurants that really cannot pivot the same way. It's a big jump to switch to doing takeout only. It's very difficult. So for us, we've been able to survive and do okay. And really, this time of the year with the cold, people are taking out anyway.
Right.
The holidays have been okay. Early in the summer was actually a little tougher, but thankfully we've had a food truck, been able to use that in the summertime to kind of offset the losses at the restaurant. But for everyone, it's been a hard year.
You may be in a little better position than some other people in your industry. Have you gotten a lot of help? Has the help been enough for you as far as funding from your customers, from the community?
Yeah, so we did receive PPP early on, which was huge to help bring back my staff, even when we first reopened, because we reopened with very heavy safety measures in place, and so we really limited our menu, limited our hours, who was working. We had 2 complete separate crews, so they were working almost half the hours they were before for safety, but I was able to pay them their full wages and keep them working until we got everything figured out, which is great.
So you haven't had to lay anybody off or do any of that?
Thank God, not because of the virus. We've had people leave, and it's been actually hard sometimes keeping people and having a full crew because whether it's quarantining or contact with someone or taking off to take care of someone, we've lost some people here and there.
So moving forward, we don't know what's in play, for your industry, but moving forward, how are you going to survive? Will you survive? And what can we do to help?
I think in general for the industry, it's got to be it's got to be a balance of safety and also help in the short term to kind of get through it till we get to the warmer months again. People have been great buying gift cards if they're not buying now. Very generous. Our staff is, and I know other people have shared similar. People have been very generous with tipping, and doing little things like that. Buying a meal for someone else that might be in trouble if you still have your job, supporting a restaurant through that, and maybe helping a neighbor. We've done a program where you can buy Greek food for our frontliners and first responders, which has been great. People can donate on GoFundMe. Helps the restaurant. That food then goes to people that are working hard out there. So, there's programs like that.
So every little bit helps.
Absolutely.
All right, Mike, it was good talking to you. Thanks for joining us here in Focus and giving us just a snapshot of what you're dealing with there. Thank you. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll talk with another restaurant owner and find out how they're doing in light of this pandemic.
This is WGAL 8 in Focus, coverage you can count on.
And welcome back. I'm joined now by Jim Delisio. He owns the Racehorse Tavern in York and serves also on the Pennsylvania Licensed Beverage and Tavern Association's Board of Directors. We're going to be talking about to them in just a few minutes. But first of all, let me talk to you. Now, the second shutdown, Jim, you shut your business down. Some people have not. What are your thoughts on those who decided to stay open, but despite the orders to close?
Well, I mean, obviously it's a personal and it's a business decision that they made. And some people, in all honesty, aren't in a position that they can afford to be closed for that period of time. And the problem is that the governor and some of these mandates are forcing people who are normal, law-abiding citizens to think criminally to save their family legacies and their businesses. Well, it's a shame.
And I know you're going to open on Monday, but you know what? Those mitigation or restrictions are still going to be in play here. There's going to be capacity limits and also limits on, when you can serve that alcohol. And I imagine bar service is a pretty big deal in your tavern.
Well, it is. People like to belly up to the bar, for lack of better words, and have a drink, have a sandwich, do a shot and stuff. Yeah, it's tough, but at least being open is better than the alternative of being closed completely. So, the other problem that we're going to have is now people are going to have to decide, do I go to a bar or a restaurant that's following the rules and regulations, or do I go to one where they just said, hey, enough is enough and we're going to run at 100%? So it puts everybody against each other.
Jim, what has to happen in your industry? I mean, I know there's PPP money, there's the CARES Act funding, so there's some help out there. But what do you think needs to happen to help your industry survive this?
Well, we need money months ago. They offered us, different types of loans and grants and stuff. But, it's like filling out a mortgage. You've got to fill out a ton of paperwork. It takes forever. There's so much red tape. And by the time that any of this even remotely becomes available to you, a lot of businesses are out of business. I mean, in York County alone, we've had a handful of businesses that have been in business for, 50 some years that close their doors permanently because of this. It's absurd.
So how are you able to stay afloat? What have you been doing?
Well, I mean, I guess I'm lucky enough that, my father built a good business and a good business structure that, I've had money set aside and financially I'm in a position where, maybe I can hold off a little bit longer. But there's a lot of places that aren't like that, especially people that just bought a place or just remodeled or whatever. I mean, it's just not fair when you see hundreds and hundreds of people in Walmarts and Giants. Look, if this is about the virus, then make everything curbside service. Get everybody out of the stores and do it through online ordering and whatever. That way, maybe we can stop this thing. But as long as people are going into these big box stores and these other places, this thing is going to go on forever. And I'm not so sure that it almost seems like that's the way we're headed.
So you want to see the playing field leveled as best we can. What is your message to the governor? He was asked the other day about, will he be doing this in the future? And his response, he just doesn't know, what he's going to be doing. And I would think in your business that everybody's walking on eggshells. So what's your message to the governor?
My message is to be fair and compassionate to the people who've spearheaded this shutdown from day one. We were the first ones to be closed, the first ones to be closed again. We have the largest restrictions out of anybody. And when you look at the data, his data that he's giving to us, we're not the problem. Obviously there, some separation needs to be done in bars and restaurants, but you've got these big box stores and these other stores where you go in and there's people. I mean, sure, they're wearing masks, but they touch things thousands of times. There's nobody in there cleaning up like they do in bars and restaurants. Just open up the level playing field so we at least have a chance, because the very fact of the United States was designed and founded in a tavern, and you're going to end up closing all of them if this continues.
So moving forward, Jim, a lot of people want to get back to normal as quickly as we can. Do you see that day happening, especially for your tavern?
I mean, I don't even know what normal is anymore. And to be quite honest with you, my gut instinct tells me that we're going to be dealing with a lot of unknowns and different types of mitigation efforts and whatnot through the entire 2021. I hope I'm dead wrong, and I hope that this vaccine kind of speeds things up a little bit. But, I mean, it's an unfortunate situation that we're in, but it's just, like you said earlier, let's just level the playing field and give us a fighting chance. And, we've always had to follow rules and regulations from the Department of Agriculture on health and safety and cleanliness and cleaning up and all that stuff. Just let us do our job. We have a license to do it. Let us do it. Don't take it away from us.
And that is a good statement to end on. Jim, thanks so much for joining us and being very candid about what you're going through and what you'd like to see happen to survive this pandemic that we're in. Thanks,
It was a
Jim.
pleasure speaking to you.
Thank you. Likewise. Well, the head of Pennsylvania's licensed beverage, Bill, happy to hear you, Tavern Association joins us when we come back. Stay with us. In Focus will return.
This is WGAL 8 in Focus. Coverage you can count on.
The Pennsylvania Licensed Beverage and Tavern Association issued a statement when Governor Tom Wolf announced the statewide mitigation orders would be lifted on Monday, January the 4th, as planned. And they said, quote this, while this is positive news for establishments across the state, unfortunately, the lingering impact on both businesses and employees will be felt as we move into 2021. Businesses lost a key time of the year, while many bartenders and servers missed out on usually very generous tips during the holiday season. So I'm joined now by Chuck Moran. Chuck, I know you're the president and executive director of the Pennsylvania Licensed Beverage and Tavern Association. Basically, in a nutshell, you said the damage is done. So can these bars and restaurants and taverns recover those losses moving forward?
Well, certainly moving forward, they're going to need help. And that's why we're calling upon the legislature when they return in January to provide that help. We heard all last year, a lot of talk from all four caucuses and from the governor's office that they're interested in doing grants, industry-specific grants, but that never happened, and the industry was really let down. So our hope is, one, grants in the new year, and two, let's start looking at some of these mitigation efforts that maybe can start being eased. For example, our smallest corner bars, they don't have tables. It's just a bar. Why not allow people to sit at those bars if they're seated distance apart and as long as they're following some social distancing?
Yeah, do you think you have enough support when it comes to legislators enacting some of those requests?
Well, that's a good question. I think there's definitely growing support for the grants, but ultimately the mitigation effort is going to come down to the governor's office. You probably remember House Bill 2513 last year that would have lifted some of those mitigation efforts. The Republicans were certainly on the team for that, but the Democrats didn't appear to be, and certainly the governor then vetoed it.
The governor, was asked the question. I think a lot of people in the industry are concerned because he was asked, would you be doing this again in the future? We're talking about some big events coming up, the Super Bowl, we've got Valentine's Day, and his answer to that, quote, I have no idea what I will do in the future. So that kind of statement, what does that send to your industry?
Well, it just sends shivers up their spines because they just don't know what's next. They've received no aid from the state. And when you hear stuff like that, they have to move forward with some degree of caution.
So what are you hearing from the industry? I mean, what are the needs right now? What can we do moving forward to make these places stay in business?
Sure, that's a great question. And it's one that we're often asked. And fortunately, even though the state hasn't reacted, a lot of communities have, a lot of the patrons have. We've learned of people buying gift cards to help out these small businesses. We've heard people ordering takeout during the holidays, and that's all great. But really, to get these businesses back up and running and survivable, it really comes down to the state taking the actions to pass some grant money for them.
Yeah, I know all these places have done what they can. They've invested a lot of money into their outdoor seating. Now we're in the winter months, so that may be a little more challenging. But these mitigation efforts are still in place, or these restrictions. What do you want to have happen, Chuck, to make this business a more positive experience for these owners and these people that are working so hard in this industry?
Yeah, let's not forget the bartenders and the servers, because they've been hit especially hard. In August, we did a survey of our members, and we represent the small business taverns and licensed restaurants. We don't represent the chains and so forth. But in August, at that time, every establishment had averaged 13 employees that were laid off. My average member only has 16 employees. So the industry in general has been slapped up alongside the head, and they have just felt the brunt of this whole situation. When the governor and the legislatures decided to use the billions of dollars to balance the budget, that was kind of like a nail in many of their coffins.
So you'd like to see some more help from the state. Wait and see what happens on that one. Chuck Moran, thanks so much for spending time with us and talking about such an important topic to so many people out there in the Susquehanna Valley.
Thank you for having us, Lori.
All right. Thank you. Stay with us. An official from the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association will be joining us when In Focus returns.
This is WGAL 8 in Focus, coverage you can count on.
And now I'd like to introduce Ben Fleccia. He's the Director of Operations and Strategy for the Pennsylvania Restaurant and Lodging Association. Ben, thanks for being with us here in Focus.
Thanks for having me on today.
I have to ask your reaction when the governor announced, okay, we're going to let all these restrictions expire 8 a.m. on Monday morning.
It was a big sigh of relief. We were worried that the mitigation efforts would be extended, and once we heard that announcement, it brought a lot of hope to a lot of people.
Talking with people in the industry, they're saying, but the damage has been done. They missed out on some key money for the holiday season. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it's huge. I mean, December usually makes up, a lot of the revenue that you lose in January and February, which are historically slower months. So it's the month where people try to bank as much money as you can. And it just didn't happen this year. So it was really unfortunate for all of them.
And the governor, of course, when asked, will he do this again? Because it's the second time we're seeing these restrictions, stricter restrictions, I guess I should say, with these closures coming into play. Will he do this again? We got Valentine's Day around the corner, Super Bowl. And his answer to that is, I have no idea what I will do in the future. That's a quote from him. What does that mean to you?
Well, what it means to me is I think they are learning their lesson from the past few months. Every mitigation effort, it seemed to show an increase of cases after the efforts went into place. And, the unintended consequences of closing restaurants is that it was forcing a lot of gatherings in unregulated spaces where there was nobody enforcing mask wearing, nobody enforcing social distancing, contact tracing, or sanitation. So, it's putting people back into restaurants is actually a safer option.
And I know a lot of these restaurants, they're obeying all these orders. They're doing what they need to do just so they can stay open. I guess what needs to happen to help this industry? I know there's PPP money. We've got CARES Act funding. You've got some money for these restaurants, but some are saying it's not near enough, especially when it comes to maintaining rent and their staff. What needs to be done, maybe on the state or even the federal level?
Well, we definitely need that next round of PPP money. When we were closed down in March and April, there were lifelines out there. Not only for the owners, but for the staff. This time around, it was a lot scarier because we didn't know what was going to be happening. So, now that we now that Congress did pass the bill, hopefully, restaurants will be able to get through the next couple months. It's not a question of thriving. It's just a question of surviving. And hopefully with a little bit more money, they can get through until, April rolls around, the warm weather comes back, more vaccines are available. We can start getting back on track.
Obviously, we've never been through something like this before, so this is all new turf for so many of us. But moving forward, do you think something needs to be done to incentivize banks, let's say, for future loans for these businesses to make it fair for them to get some of these loans? I mean, what has to happen on the state and federal level to make sure these banks are somehow incentivized to give them loans?
Well, restaurants are the lifeblood of so many communities, of so many small towns and in big cities. They have to realize that, without the restaurants, so much other failure will take place. I mean, restaurants support not just their employees, but all the vendors that support them. I mean, in 2019, restaurant revenue in Pennsylvania was $25.7 billion. It's the second largest employer in the state with close to 600,000 restaurant employees. So, banks need to know that this is a vital part of the health of Pennsylvania.
And a big part of communities when it comes to the economy, too. It brings people to that downtown area as well.
For sure. I mean, you see revitalization efforts all across Pennsylvania, and revitalization of communities always start with the newest restaurant that comes to town.
Well, Ben, I'm hoping that all of us can get back to normal before too long. So with that said, I know you do an awful lot for these the people in your industry that are working so hard to stay afloat. Thank you so much for joining us in Focus.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us for WGAL 8 in Focus. From all of us at WGAL, I'm Lori Burkholder. Remember to join us again next Saturday at 7 for WGAL 8 in Focus, right after NBC Nightly News.